SNRG sample using Angela Duckworth and the Research on Grit by Emily Hanford. So if I'm doing this assignment, I start up here in the top left corner and I would put whatever my name was, the instructor's name, the course, and the date. Go down to the next line, go up to center, and put the name of the assignment, SNRG Hanford, Hanford being the last name of the author. Go down to the left, and the first part, you can combine these, would be scan and notice. So I go over to my reading on the right side here, and I want to scan it. Scan means read the first paragraph, the introduction, the first sentence of each body paragraph. That's not exactly the first sentence, but right there, all the way through, and when I get to the ending, I read just the whole conclusion. So, for example, before she was a psychology professor, Angela Duckworth taught math in middle school and high school. She spent a lot of time thinking about something that might seem obvious. The students who tried hardest did the best, and the students who didn't try very hard didn't do very well. Duckworth wanted to know, what is the role of effort in a person's success? Now Duckworth is an assistant professor at the University of Pennsylvania, and her research focuses on personality traits she calls grit. Duckworth's research suggests that when it comes to high achievement, grit may be as essential as intelligence, and so on. I'm just reading the first sentence of each body paragraph all the way down to the end of the article or essay, and then I read the entire last paragraph. That's my scan. As soon as I finish doing that, I go here and I write down 2 sentences of what I notice just about the writing. So let me make this a little bigger. Okay, what do I notice after I read it the first time? Well, I notice the essay is written with many short paragraphs, some with only 2 or even 1 sentence. What else do I notice as I read through, just scanning it? I notice the paper uses words like professor, research, intelligence, work, college, graduation. So if I think about that for a moment, I'd say this is an academic paper, maybe by a professor. Alright, that's my notice, scan and notice. Now I go down, and the RG would be read and gloss. You can combine these two as well, because as I said, you're really only writing down what you notice and what you gloss. Scan and read are just actions. So now I go back and I read the entire article. You may want to read it one time through and then actually the next time go back and gloss, or you can combine those activities. So let me give you an example. Each paragraph is going to be numbered. So over here for paragraph 1, which happens to be the introduction, I'm going to read it and try to come up with the main ideas. So I read it carefully and think about it, and I don't want to waste your time, so I'll just show you what I came up with for a few. This first one, Duckworth studies effort. Remember, you only want 3 to 7 words, so you don't want to just put 1 or 2 words here, and you don't want to go over 7. Keep it right in that zone of 3 to 7 words to capture a meaning or two. You don't need good grammar. You don't want to write a sentence here, just some key words. You can even use things like verses or equals, or even greater than. You can use symbols in there with the words. After all, you're taking notes to capture very quickly the gist or essence of each paragraph. Then I read the second paragraph over here. Of course, you know paragraph because it's either indented, or in this case you have block paragraphs, so there's a space between each paragraph. So for this second one, after I read it, I come up with something like grit means or equals not giving up. And I go to paragraph 3 and I read it, and I come back and I dash grit equals IQ question mark. Then I go on to paragraph 4. This is very short. There's only 2 sentences, so it's hard to gloss it. It's talking about how you can measure IQ. I'm just going to say IQ tests. And then I go on to paragraph 5. And then I get relationship between grit and intelligence. So you see I'm using grit and I'm using IQ a lot, but each time it's a slightly different take. I couldn't just put grit to capture the meaning of that paragraph. I couldn't just put IQ. Sometimes you're just going to put a word and a comma and another word. If I skip down to paragraph 9, just putting spelling bee, comma, grit equals study longer. Or if I skip down to 21, I'm putting associate degree versus PhD. Same grit. Okay, or maybe paragraph 27, I'm just putting b-ball versus math. And maybe grit. So I hope that gives you an idea of where we're going, trying to break down each of these paragraphs and find a couple key words, 3 to 7 words, to say what the author was doing in that specific paragraph.